As you may or may not know, the transition to college can be extremely difficult, especially for an 18-year-old kid. They're going to have to deal with the rigor of the classes, living independently, even making new friends. However, as a parent, there are some things that you can do to help with the transition, and that's what we're going to talk about in this lesson. First and foremost, before you leave your child at their new home, ensure that everything is taken care of. Ensure that they're going to have a solid foundation to begin their college experience. Number one, financial aid. Try to ensure that your child has taken care of everything necessary so when financial aid is dispersed at your child's institution, they will receive their money on time. This could be a very tedious process. You may have to go to the financial aid office. You may have to wait in line. However, it's imperative that your child starts off their academic career on a good foot. Next is the housing, and this is extremely important. If you can, parents, try to make the housing feel like a home away from home. So if you can, try to supply the basic necessities, make it feel homey, make it feel comfortable. So when the child comes home after a long day, even though they're not coming home to you, they're coming home to something that reminds them of you. So if you could, try to spruce up the room to make it feel like a home away from home. A meal plan is also important. In most cases, you're required to have a meal plan depending on the housing unit that you choose to live into. However, just make sure everything's okay and the child has enough food to make it through the semester. And finally, the book situation. You'll be surprised how many students start the semester off not having the book or not buying the book until 3 or 4 weeks into the semester. So try to ensure that the student has enough money to receive the book. Now, in some cases, students receive book vouchers where the university will give them a loan where they can buy their books before the semester starts. However, if your child has to wait until financial aid is dispersed to get their money, then try to give them a little bit of money so they can buy their books and they can stay ahead in their courses. Overall, try to make your child feel comfortable in their new home. It's a rough transition, but what you can do is ensure that the financial aid, the housing, the meal plan, and their books are all situated so when they start their semester, they can start off on a good foot. These are questions parents should ask either prior to orientation, at orientation, or even when you're dropping your child off to begin the new semester. Financial aid is very important. I would personally talk to a financial representative at your institution and ask if your child submitted everything necessary to receive their financial aid upon disbursement. And if everything is in, awesome. That means you're good to go. However, if a document is missing, find out exactly what you need to submit and how long it will take for this information to be processed and when will your child receive financial aid. These are questions you have to ask, especially if your child is relying on financial aid to buy their books, to pay their housing, and tuition. At some institutions, if your bills aren't paid accordingly, they will drop your child from their classes. So it's very important to find out when your child will receive financial aid if something is missing. Next, we have generic holds that may be on your child's account. For example, if your child did not submit their immunization records to the institution, then more than likely a hold will be on your child's account, and your child will not be able to do a lot of things because of that hold. Other examples are your final transcript hold. If the institution has yet to receive the high school transcript from the last quarter, then they'll put a hold on the account. In some cases, test prep. If your child has to take a college entry exam in order to fully be accepted into the university, that hold may be on your record also. Also, there may be a housing hold if a deposit was not submitted, or even an orientation hold if your child did not complete the orientation process. So every institution is different, but ask and find out if a hold was placed on your child's record. And if there is a hold, again, find out how the hold can be removed and if there is any implication on your child's financial aid. In most cases, for the holds I just stated, it shouldn't affect financial aid at all. But again, ask to find out if there's any hold on your child's record. And finally, the academic advisor. Probably most academic advisors will kill me because I'm telling you guys to ask these questions. It will take a lot of time to answer these questions, and in most cases, they're trying to get students in and out. However, if you want to make sure that your child is on the right track, I will strongly recommend in asking the following questions. You want to make sure that the classes that your child are enrolled in are classes that they need for their major. In some cases, during the first year, freshman year, advisors or students may take classes that are appropriate for a first year, however, may not be needed for their major. And that happens because a student may come in and say, I want to major in English, but they may change their major to biology. So what I would recommend is for the child to take classes that will count for both majors that they're interested in. So let's say, for example, your child is interested in biology and psychology. They're not sure whether they want to major in biology or psychology, but they know for sure these are the two majors that they want to focus on. So if that's the case, tell your academic advisor to give your child classes that will count for both psychology and biology. Here's an example. If your child wanted to major in biology, more than likely the math requirement will be something a little bit more difficult than that for the psychology. The math requirement for biology may be college algebra. However, the math requirement for psychology may be liberal arts math, something a little bit easier. So tell your academic advisor that you want your child to take college algebra, because if they switch their major to biology, again, that math class will count. And even if they stick with psychology, the math class will count because it's a more difficult class than the liberal arts, and it will count. But if it was the other way around, where your child took liberal arts and wanted to major in biology, that liberal arts class will not count, and it'll be a waste of money. It's definitely important for your child to know what they want to major in when they come to the university. However, if by chance they're not sure, that's okay too. However, I would strongly recommend to kind of hone in on 1, 2, or even 3 majors. A good academic advisor can find classes that can fit across the spectrum. 3 majors max. 4, you're asking a bit much, but about 3 majors, it can be done. We don't want you guys to waste your time and money. So please go to your academic advisor with the knowledge of knowing what idea or what majors you want to pursue. Next, I would strongly recommend to get your academic advisor's contact information. And this is very important because when you're away, when you go back to your home, and if you have a question regarding your child's academics or even performance, you want to be able to contact your academic advisor simply by emailing or picking up the phone. So that should be a must to get that information prior to leaving. And finally, the FERPA policy. FERPA is very important because if you don't have access to your child's account, if you call the academic advisor, he or she will not be able to tell you anything pertaining to your child's record. However, prior to leaving the university, ensure that your name is on your child's account, so when you do call or if you do inquire about your child's records, then the academic advisor or anyone at the institution will be legally obliged to tell you about your child's records. So ask about FERPA, ask about the university's policy, how they implemented FERPA, but make sure before you leave the university, you have access to your child's records. Support and growth. This is an extremely important topic. There are many agents on campus there to ensure that your child has a successful transition at their institution. However, nobody knows your child like you, the parent. So it's incumbent upon you all to have this conversation with them. Talk about the classes. Don't ask yes or no questions because that's too easy. You guys want the details. So make your child talk about the classes. Is it rigorous? Is it hard? How's your relationship with the professors? Can you understand your professor? Have you gone to the professor's office hours? These are questions that you want your child to tell you because you want to know what's going on academically. The first and second semesters are very important because we want your child, and you do too, to start off with the best grades possible. But that's only going to happen if they do the right thing. And with so much going on campus, whether it's the football games, whether it's making new friends or the parties, the clubbing, whatever the case may be, there's a lot going on. So we have to ensure that your child is doing what they came there to do, which is the academics. Sometimes children get caught up in the many things on campus and they completely neglect their classes. So because of that, again, it's our job as administrators, but also your job as a parent to ensure that your child is doing the right thing. Also, when it comes to the social life, it's important to talk to them to make sure that there's a balance. We're not saying that you can't go out and have a good time with your friends. However, the key to life is balance. And as a parent, you guys know that at this point in your lives, but we need to make sure that your child understands that concept also. So try to find out what they're doing when they're not in class or what type of people they're hanging with. Just like in high school, we don't want your child to hang around the wrong crowd. And even though it's college, the wrong crowd still exists. So try to find out what's going on, find out who their friends are, so you have an idea of what's going on in your child's life. It shouldn't be drop them off on college and forget about them until Christmas or Thanksgiving. That's not the formula. So try to have that open communication and find out what's going on campus, especially as it pertains to your child. Transitioning to college is very difficult. So other than making sure they have a strong foundation, what else can you do as a parent to ensure a successful transition? Well, number one, try to avoid the criticisms. One thing I can guarantee is your child will make some mistakes. They're going to do some things that you're going to shake your head. However, they need that opportunity to grow and figure things out. That's one of the benefits of going to school away from their family. So they can grow, so they can figure it out and see it through their own lens. So if they do tell you about a mistake that they made, try to limit the criticism, but most importantly, make sure that they understand why what they did was wrong. As an academic advisor, it was very hard for me to hear the stories of my students. But before they left my office, I would try to ensure that they understood why what they did was wrong. I would prove that point. I would throw it in their face. They needed to understand why what they did was wrong and why we should never do it again. So as a parent, try to avoid the criticism and allow your child to grow. Give them that space. Also, if you can, try to send a care package. And this can come in many forms. You can put a gift card in the mail to Target or Walmart where they can buy their groceries or just little knickknacks that they need for the dorm or their apartment. Or you can send an actual care package. And there are companies out there that kind of does it for you. They have like a monthly subscription where you guys pay for the whole year, and every month the company will send packages to your child. Or you can do it yourself. You can go to Walmart or Michael's and get the necessary supplies and make it nice and exciting and put it in the mail for your child. Try to have constant communication. Like call maybe twice a week or video chat twice a week, but it kind of depends on your child if they want to have that communication. But try to have communication if they want it. It's very important for your child to have someone a little bit older to guide them or help them along the way. So try to have that communication with them. Schedule visits. I wouldn't surprise the child because you may be surprised of what you see, but I would schedule visits so you can come and see, take them shopping, take them out to eat, so they can get their mind away from school sometimes. Every now and then, a break is good. As always, financial support goes a long way. So if you can put money in your child's account so they can go on spring break or winter break, or even something small, like if the fair is in town and they're running low on money, again, a break is great, especially if they're in a difficult major and they're struggling with the transition. So if you can support financially, that goes a long way. And finally, when they come home, try to make it as nice as possible. Cook their favorite meal, take them out to eat. When they come home, allow your child to enjoy it, allow them to let their hair down and just have a good time. Because when they go back, they're going back to that college lifestyle. So let them know when they come home, they have a loving, warm household and family that loves and supports them. Sensitive topics. The next three things that we're going to talk about are kind of sensitive. And it kind of depends on your relationship with your child, whether or not they'll be willing to talk to you about it or even tell you the truth. So only you know how your child will react when you guys talk about these topics. However, you have to understand that these three topics here, sexual relationships, finances, and drugs and alcohol, they do have an impact on retention and academic productivity. So you have to be mindful, and you know your child. So if necessary, please bring up these topics with your child. I know for me, a lot of times, my students, they come in and they talk about all three. They'll tell me what happened the night before in a sexual relationship. They'll tell me about the drugs and alcohol that they did over the weekend. And also they'll tell me how they're blowing their money at the mall or they're planning to go to Cabo for spring break. So they're willing to tell me these things. However, there's only so much I could do. All I can do, or other academic advisors, is pretty much give advice. But as a parent, your reach is a lot longer than ours. So keep in mind that these topics, they may not bring up during the day-to-day conversations that you guys have, but understand they do impact your child's academic productivity, so make sure that they're doing the right thing. So overall, understand that your child will make mistakes. Give them space. Allow your child to grow and become who they're meant to be. Support them when you can. Help them out financially, but also give them good and solid advice when they call and ask. Be a good parent, love your child, and support them as much as possible.